We battle with the gods under a million stars. We battle with the gods under a million stars. We battle with the gods under a million stars. There's lion blood in my chalice, a goat heart in the balance. I speak in italics, discussing these chances. In the Eiffel Tower of Paris, my chariot, the color is metallic. A wonderland to Alice, it's all blunder and malice. Best talent that's combined with magic. Behind the static, there's voices in the shadow. The only choice is battle. Hop into Hellcat and skedaddle. They're watching King Kong climb the Tower of Babel. Ignore every Eve trying to give me an apple. The little rascal that can't be canceled. In the courtyard of my castle, these hens doing nothing but cackle. Now they walking in my chapel with candles that's lit. Definitely with the shits, cause we handle it. Met with the building that is brick by brick. Old Mac, big head, can't tell me shit. Capoeira with the spiral kick, spit hieroglyphs when the tyrants sit at the Coliseum. Whether spies or allies, I know them when I see them. Greet them with an olive branch, that's for the treason. Watch Pocahontas rain dance for the season. Is he still breathing? After the execution, they blame spirits and start the accusing, and then survive every disaster and delusion. Supreme mathematics, the author of confusion. Niggas be cheating and they still losing. Bones in my blank keep me tuned and influenced by the moon sin. A lunatic in a truant skin. A boogeyman with a heart like a ruby gem. A whirlwind I twirl in the middle of tornadoes. Between riddles and fables, keep my Glock on the table. Shot of scotch keeps me stable. Watching divas belly dance with diamonds in their navel. We rode on sound waves that was wavy for a label. And while you getting hung by the TV cable, I was ready and able. The black amour that raised you from the grave to the cradle. We battle with the gods under a million stars. We battle with the gods under a million stars. We battle with the gods under a million stars.
Love, peace, and power, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? How you feel? How you feel? Happy May 24th, 2024. Happy Venus Day. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest, a absolute treasure. One of my dear friends, one of my favorite authors. He is the epitome of a four life path. He wears a great many hats. Let me waste no time and introduce the God 720, a.k.a. Keenan Booker. How are you doing, brother? How you feeling?
You put the aliens in front of the name. I like that, brother. Yo, before we even start, how does that track make you feel about hip hop, brother?
That track right there is been one.
Phenomenal.
It's been one of my anthems. You know what I'm saying? To be absolutely honest with you, you do that very very often. You find these ethereal veins, and the production. It sounds good no matter where I play it. It sounds good on my headphones. It sounds good in the car. It sounds good on the laptop. It doesn't matter. Um, the fact that it's coming from the West Coast um, screams a lot to me, for a number of reasons. But that album, especially, Constantine the Black, we can go back and forth on Constantine alone, you know what I'm saying, on a very, very deep level. But that album right there, yeah, and that's correct me if I'm wrong, that's your 10th album?
No, that's my 12th album.
12th album. Okay, okay. So I want to make something very clear. I want to make something very clear because, when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to algorithms, when it comes to exposure, when it comes to holding each other accountable, and when it comes to holding each other up and giving some proper praise. You've been in this game for a long time, and I don't know anyone. I can think of a couple people extremely recently, but I don't know anyone who puts an album out along with a book. Can you speak to that for just a moment, if you would? Because I know when you put out, well, some people would know it as the Black Man's Bible, but
Mm-hmm.
the Dark Doctrine, the Onyx Tablet, the Negros Biblios. You know what I'm saying? With the
Ah, you
that,
did it.
you know what I'm saying? With the actual heirloom edition. For those of us who might remember that Bible that grandma had that we couldn't touch. It was the heirloom edition.
Mm-hmm.
You put that magic on your book along with an album. You know what I'm saying? That was the monster album, right?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Well, before I answer that question, I got the question. I got to ask you. You could just make this real brief on the answer. You would consider me a West Coast rapper?
Okay, now that's gonna lead to a very good question.
I
Very
get
good.
and the reason, hold
Discussion.
on. The reason I'm posing these questions at you, because I know you're a true connoisseur of hip hop, and I also know you're on the East Coast. So I need to hear. You know what I'm saying? I don't really get to talk to fans and people who listen to my music, because sometimes the music be so loud and orchestra and overthrown, people just whoop, go quiet. So I don't know how people box me, whether it be a conscious rapper, or a West Coast rapper, or a gangster rapper. I've actually heard them all, but I want to hear what your point. Would you, because you say that because I'm in Vegas, or would you really consider my style West Coast?
Okay, so it would have to be all of the above, and I'll tell you
Okay.
why. Now I know a little bit of your story. I've
Mm-hmm.
read the majority of your books, and we're about 10 years deep at this point. But
Mm-hmm.
I know you, like me, you've moved around a lot. So that was one of the things that drew me to your work, because
Mm-hmm.
you explain that and go through that thoroughly. Um, from Chicago, Atlanta, and then to go west. It's like, number one, there's a certain fearlessness with that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, what I'm saying? If somebody tells you they've moved to these certain cities, even visiting but living, you're willing to learn and adapt, because obviously there's a great deal that at least in terms of being sure of yourself. But that's extreme to most people, to be completely honest. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of listening to your music over the years, you have embodied you've been able to absorb a lot of the energy from the areas that you have lived,
Mm-hmm.
and you have evolved as such. So you can hear the gangster. I can read the gangster. I can read the CEO. I can read the billionaire. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the mindset. You don't really leave any stones unturned. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? You can't
Mm-hmm.
really sideswipe you. The only
Mm-hmm.
place um, the only place you might not have any focus or attention is in areas that don't necessarily encompass what it is you do. You
Mm-hmm.
see, so like that just makes sense. But because of, now, according to hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
where you are, right? Is sometimes more than where you're from. So I'm from Detroit and I live in Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and but I sound country depending on who you talk to. I,
Mm-hmm.
I sound northern depending on who you talk to. Who knows if I was to start rapping again? But you embody. You see, you can't be questionable at all coming from the West Coast. The East Coast gets hailed as being harsh and gritty and cold, and it is all of those things and more. But West Coast So you can't bullshit out there. You know what I'm saying? My shout out to my older brother Kush. You know what I'm saying? My
Mhm.
older brother lives in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? He's been security on the strip for years. You know what I mean? You can't
Mhm.
bullshit out there. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
like, I don't hear. There's nothing questionable. You can't question nothing when it comes to your raps, when it comes to your beats, when it comes to your production. But that's just me. I want to
Mhm.
say real quick, love, peace, and power to Moonfeather in the chat, Tai, Shetty, everybody in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody watching on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Greatly appreciate y'all for coming through. Please hit that
Mhm.
like button, hit that share button, subscribe. The links to everything from Keenan the Guy 720 is in the description. Go to his
Mhm.
channels. Just type in the Guy 720 or Keenan Booker.
Mhm.
This brother has 12 albums and 12 books
No, 10
and
books.
I'm sorry, 10 books, eight of which I have. And
Mhm.
I cannot praise them any higher. You will not be sorry. Please give him some support. So, what if,
So I'll go on to the original question. We
yeah,
can
please.
start from there with the Monster album and the Black Man's Bible. I'll give
Yes,
y'all a
indeed.
couple of secrets. Okay. The cover picture is a real picture of my mom and my dad, and that's me sitting on a tire. And if you look real close, I got a 45 on my lap, a real 45 on my lap. Okay. And that's really my parents. Rest in peace to my mom. So I understood um at the time I was pivotal in my life, as I talk about it in the book. I was about to go to the military, and the stars was like, nah, you have other stuff to do for the planet. And on my first album, I didn't know what to do with the cover. And I knew I had the coldest baby picture in the game. This is my baby picture. You ain't about to find nobody else in hip hop got a baby picture colder than this one. You dig? So, and then it also exemplifies 1920 gangsterism. You dig what I'm saying? So, I wanted to take this picture, and I had to do something potent, and I really didn't know what to do for the cover of the book. So I was like, I need to do something phenomenal. The Black Man's Bible. What am I going to do? So I had to put it together, and then at that time, right after the stars was like, nah, you ain't doing no military, you got bigger shit to do. Out of nowhere, a bunch of my fans just started dumping beats on me, just like out of nowhere. So I had all these beats. The beats were cold. People liked my flow, because this actually wasn't my first album. My first album is The Immortal Spectacle. Okay. So I used to play The Immortal Spectacle every now and again, and niggas was liking it. So a bunch of people threw me a bunch of beats. So I had this picture, the Negro Beaster in the Image of God, which is actually a cover to a book. Okay. This is a cover to a book that came out in the year 1900. Okay. So I thought it was cold. It fit my dynamic of how I represent myself and all of that. So I said, I'll just put the two together, because, if you're going to create a product, or if you're going to, whatever you do in life, you have to study the game and make sure that you do something that nobody else has done. So I went ahead and did it. I put the album with the book, and it's in the Library of Congress in that format, with the album with the book. Okay. So I said I make a little soundtrack with it, you know what I'm saying? Let's see where it goes, and then a lot of things happened. A lot of things went sour with the launch, because I had ordered a bunch of books from China. Obama was in office at that time. It was supposed to be released during Christmas, and have the blow up for the sale. And Obama, the feds intercepted the load where my books was at, and held my shit for like 3 months, and then charged me to inspect my cargo coming from China. You see what I'm saying? So I said, man, what the fuck is this shit? So, it really fucked up the sales. I'm like, all right, and then my shorty told me, put out the real nigga etiquette. And at the same time, I had the idea because I had a lot of leftover questions with when it comes to torture. I don't like horror movies. I find horror movies to be very disrespectful. So I wanted to find out where the thought pattern of horror movies came from. And I had researched it a little bit when I was in El Paso before I moved to Vegas. And I only found a little bit of information. It wasn't enough. So when I got to Vegas, I was like, okay, I'm gonna release um, you know, do a study on this torture stuff or on, the origins of this horror. And then I'm gonna put out a little DVD slideshow with it, right? And then before I knew it, I had bought a bunch of material to research it, and the books that I was reading didn't give me the punch that I wanted, because obviously there was already material written on it. So I wanted something unique. I wanted something that was more powerful. And the stars was like, yo, we want everything. I was like, what you mean everything? We want everything in between 700, 1700. We want everything. How they married, how they ate, what was their criminal justice system, what were the streets looking like? What did it smell like in the air? What the fuck is a witchcraft? Why were women getting burned up for 300 years? What is, and then with all of that, and there's more questions and more questions and more questions started popping up once I went down that route, and in between time, the real nigga etiquette with the Onyx tablet was produced, and this was a fun book. This is probably about my most fun book. I was clowning in this book. It comes with the Onyx tablet, all of this stuff you can buy on my websites right now. I'm about to post them again. You can go to Millennium DVDs. You can go to Kicked Out of Heaven, theblackmansbible.com as well. And I wrote this book. I was having fun clowning. This is probably about the most fun book that I had, and a lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people, put this up as a top classic. But yeah, that's how the engine started turning, and when I went down the medieval route, there was so much information that, you know, at first it was going to be a 7-series book, then it was going to be a 5-volume book. Then I broke it down to 3 volumes. I didn't know it was going to be as large as it was going to be. The book company did all of that. They're the ones that made it phenomenal. And please understand that when I say the book company, these are white folk working on their history written by a black man. And they made it, finite, and the Immortal Spectacle actually goes with the volume 1, which was originally published, and understand it was published by the company on June 16th, which is Tupac's birthday. And now they put the Mandela effect on me and tried to change the date because the energy is too powerful, and but that you was there, you was around when it first got published. So yeah, that's what happened with that.
I have the original copies. You know what I'm
Yeah, you
saying?
have the original copies. That's right.
Now, what's interesting is all the information that you were actually going through, to a large degree, led you to some very, very magnificent side effects. Case in point, melanin DVDs. You were researching, and you were so adamant about getting to the bottom of something. You took your application of information to a scientific level, which I can't stress is the epitome of what we actually do with this. We can We can play with this information. I don't care what it is. You could, whether you're a cook, whether you're a doctor, whether you're an author, whether you're an artist, whatever. Or you can get really in bed with it, so to speak. You got in bed with this, and as a result, you have Melanin DVDs, which is still one of my favorite websites. You have every school of thought represented. Um,
Mm-hmm.
as a result of going through that information,
Mm-hmm.
um, that gave you and led you to a lot of the works that you began to put in, especially things that most people had not talked about, i.e., kicked out of heaven. So, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I've had Millennium DVDs going since 2008, and the Kicked Out of Heaven wasn't published until 2016, 17.
Right, right, right. So, that would fall in line with a series of these questions, or this line of questioning from the information that you were going through. Love, peace, and power to Magic LaCroix. Thank you for joining us. The information you were going through, or well, maybe I could say it better this way. Take us through what led to Kicked Out of Heaven, because um, Kicked Out of Heaven is something, in my opinion, I mean, it's a must own. The levels that you go through explaining, what we think we know about the so-called Dark Ages, so-called medieval times. People attribute so much to the Moors, but even in that aspect, they don't really recognize what that means.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, first and foremost, before I even continue, you got some beautiful women over here up in your show, B. So I gotta,
Love,
I
peace,
have
and
to
power to
say,
all the
hello,
ladies.
bueno tardes, ladies. Okay, we're up in this motherfucker. But before we, but yeah, let me- but yeah. Anyways, the literature. I was never really exposed to the NOI, even though my son Hannibal, the one that we did the delivery for on my YouTube channel, who's now 13 years old. He's born on the same birthday as Elijah Muhammad. He's October 7th. So I didn't even know all of that. I didn't know nothing about NOI. And then when I was getting into the information, you run into the NOI cats and they was telling me, the white man is ruling the planet for the 20,000 years and all of this. And he got the cycle over here. And then the white man was the caveman. And I said, okay, you say the caveman, what epoch are we talking about? Are we talking about the Mesoamerican age? Are we talking about the Jurassic age? What are we talking about here? And they didn't have no specifics. The information was too vague. I didn't like it. My brain was built to be scientific, and recipes to my mom. Like I said earlier, my mom raised me and my sister to have detailed brains, and the devil is in the details. So I can't really go into all of this vague information and then accept that as a reality, especially when we're dealing with individuals talking about the white man, the beast, but you wearing Reeboks, you wearing Adidas, you driving a Mercedes Benz, but the white man is the beast and all of this other shit. So, nigga, you're talking backwards. I deal with reality. You dig what I'm saying? And if a beast or the savage can develop the Maybach Benz that you bragging about, whoa, he sure has surpassed you, brother. You understand? So let's go into the dynamics of what's really cracking. We have the internet now. The internet gives us the expose and the capability to attain whatever materials you need about whatever area of existence. So the books were available. um I was tired of the conscious community always talking this and that about the white man, this and that. I mean, I grew up in a white community and it was middle class. This is no gated fence community like I'm living in now. You dig what I'm saying? This is middle class, and I'd have to say about middle class, lower middle class. Okay, is where I was at, and it was white boys around me. And I ain't had no problem with that, but they taught me a lot of scientific shit. And I was in Boy Scouts and things of that, so my brain was built a little bit different than the average. So there was a lot of shit talking going on inside the conscious community. The white man isn't that, the white man isn't that. Look at what he done did to our people, and look at what he done did. And as soon as you say, look at what somebody done did to you, you just defined yourself as a bitch to me. You just defined yourself as, incapable to protect yourself, obviously, because they did it to you. You dig what I'm saying? So, I wanted to go in, like I stated earlier, I don't like horror movies. So I wanted to understand what that was as well. And then you're not going to tell me that you were just a pilgrim and you arrived on the Mayflower and that's it. We need to know who you are. We need to know what you've been through that made you get on the Mayflower. We need to know what a pilgrim is. A pilgrim isn't even a group of people. A pilgrim, by definition, is an individual who goes on a religious journey. Okay, so that's why you go on a pilgrimage. A pilgrim goes on a pilgrimage. You see, they used to do that a lot. Even in the medieval times, you'll see cases where, when Christmas came around, they would walk and get on the horses for over 1,000 miles, pulling each other on mattresses and whatnot in order to go to Jerusalem and see the location that was stated where Jesus was born. So I wanted to find out what the details were. Even when it comes to the term white man, that's not something that Caucasians imposed on the natives. The natives created that term by lack of investigation, of understanding the cultural differences. When the transatlantic slave trade occurred, um, France and Spain was at war with each other. Okay, and there's even cases where those who were on the boats, Africans were on the boats, were actually trained to fight and blow cannons at opposing countries while they were in the water. Okay, so and all of that is documented in the Real Nigga Etiquette Voodoo Edition. So that another book that I wrote. So you could check that out on Amazon because I don't have any copies of that anymore. That's sold out like crazy. But um, that was what made me go down that route because I don't like vague talking. Because when you talk vague, and I'm a hustler, I've always been a nigga making money since fifth, sixth grade. I've always found something to sell, something to model to sell to people and get $1. So when you're a hustler, you can't go off of vague information. When you're listening to vague information, you're being hustled, is how it works. So vague information is a Burger King commercial. They show you the burger, they tell you how much it costs. That information is vague. They're not telling you where the beef came from. They're not telling you where the tomato came from. They're not telling you where the bread came from. They're not telling you how it was created. They're not telling you none of that. So it's vague information. And you can't come at me, a hustler, with vague information. And everything that black people claimed that they knew about white people was vague. So I don't deal with the empty brain space of shit. And we're gonna walk around with the kente cloth on and say, hey brother and hey sister. No, that's not how I move, you know.
That's where. Don't get me started with this idea of what passes for and what is called a so-called non-existent conscious community. Um, that shit is a fucking joke. If you got your squad or your vibe tribe or whatever you want to call it, your immediate circles, build with that. But the idea of um, number one, the idea of looking into the world and seeing something wrong or seeing something that needs to be fixed, that's really an internal issue. You can't broadcast that across a people or across even a gender. Uh, you're not going to be able to meet in the middle. so to speak. And that's really foolish. But that's an outward employment of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You want to work on your goddamn self. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Um, I wanted to ask you because this for what for a multitude of reasons. The more I look at it, this Terrence Howard shit is every fucking where.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't saying anything that a lot of other people haven't already said, right? Now, if you're not, really in this, then a lot of, what a lot of what he's saying may be new to you.
Mm-hmm.
But, the idea of that many patents being quote unquote stolen or abandoned um, doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have you looked into anything that he has stated thus far?
I heard a little bit of the interview and all of that, and this is the Kanye syndrome, you know. And what I call it, why I call it the Kanye syndrome, is because guess what? The people don't give a fuck. You are entertainment, nigga. Okay, the people don't give no fuck. They ain't finna to do shit about it. What are you talking about? You're talking about the flower of life. Okay. The flower of life ain't finna make my engine on my Chevy start. You understand? So, the flower of life is not in the bank account, my nigga. So, everything of what you talking is like, what are you trying to do? And the reason why I call it the Kanye syndrome is because Kanye, he came out talking about a bunch of Jews and they won't let me do this and they won't let me do that. It's like, what do you think the people are going to do? You that you're talking to, you think they're going to uprise in the middle of the night with axes and torches and go storm towards the senator's house? Nigga, this ain't the 1700s, and people ain't got the balls to do no shit like that. You're already underneath chemical control. You will do, you are as what you eat. You are what you eat, and you're underneath chemical control. You are docile. You understand? You are the Beavis and Butthead generation. Okay. Ren and Stimpy. Okay. That's what you know. You know The Simpsons. You know Dr. Pepper. Sit on your ass because all this is entertainment. And that's all the people are going to classify it as. They're not going to do anything for the name of you. They're not going to, build the time machine that um the brother Terrence Howard is promoting. You know, I guess he's doing this in the space of he can't get any more jobs on, or he's getting ripped off on his jobs in acting. So, it's also a deep coded um black male genetic issue too, where they think intelligence is makes them the alpha male, and there's a deep chord of desiring to be worshipped in a specific light. And that does what? It does nothing once again. So that's why I wrote books, for you. So you can read, because this whole entire game is called the Do It Yourself Project. The whole thing is. So, if you're going to if you want to heal the world or whatever, which that has to be done in masse, you're gonna have to start out with the position of being a quote unquote cult leader, and if you want to deal with those problems, because we've seen many cult leaders be taken down by the feds and the CIA and whatever, go ahead and do that. You're just making yourself a combatant to society. You're making yourself a combatant to America. So, whatever Terrence Howard thinks he's doing, he's blind, because he's going to keep on talking, great science, and um in the bowels of the intellect of humans across the board worldwide, nobody wants to hear a black male talk about any form of science. Okay. They don't want to hear black males talking any area of history unless you're broken in. and you have to be broken in through the university fraternity and whatnot. You have to have the invisible slack over your face of, you're cultured, and you're not aggressive, and you're a passive Negro, and that people would do that. But then once again, they're only going to sit in the audience and act like they're interested. There will be no progression in any of these areas. So, you know, it's a way. He'll see that in a couple of years. It takes a couple of years for you to see that. But he'll wake up.
Well, see, this is a part of my issue with people like Terrence Howard and with so-called communities like the conscious one, right? Which I do not claim to be a fucking part of. Understand that, man, and let me make that abundantly clear. I claim nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Um, Clarence Howard had a lot of issues with domestic violence. So I don't understand because we're getting. I notice with these waves, we're coming off this wave of Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole and Drake. Coming off this wave of um, this back and forth, this not being able to meet for one reason or another. But what I notice with all these people is there's still this question of whether or not they're going to be allowed back in. And I think that is a complete display of mental illness that no one is addressing because, I know from the eras we come from, damn sure from where our fathers and grandfathers come from, it ain't no talking. You know what I'm saying? These people are dealt with. We don't deal with people anymore. You know what I'm saying? In this way, give them a pass or let the system do what they do, or I don't, anything but hold people accountable. But you're not never coming to fuck around here no more. You put your hands on a woman, you put your hands on the child. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, looking at what's going on with Diddy and what had, it was the same situation multiple times with Terrence Howard. I just don't understand the blinders that people choose to wear. I typically don't address them, but I
Mhm.
find you can't really get away from it because we're acting like we're holding things to such a high degree, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh well, the Drake and Kendrick thing. I mean, I didn't hunch my shoulders. You gotta understand one thing about me. I cut off media. I cut off music and movies back when they were talking about the D4L and the Laffy Taffy rap and you know metrosexual, and when they started bringing in all that stupid shit, I cut the game off. Then and I was just watching old movies and reading books and this and dealing with some listening to rap, but I had to go backwards in time and deal with MCs that I didn't really listen to, Busta Rhymes, X Clan, so on and so forth. And then I stayed with the books and the literature, so everything that's been going on is not in my system. I didn't allow it in my system. I didn't allow it in my son's system. And we see the results. The results is the COVID. The results is you don't know what your sexual organs are. The results is you got trainees reading to your kids at school. The results is, your women are defiant and don't want to flip your pancakes for you anymore. And these are the results of retardation. So I understood that a lot of those things were backwards towards how the human mind is built and how humans operate. So I didn't get involved. So all the results for all of this weak shit is, it's a laughing stock to me. And I guess the real line to it is that African Americans don't really have a solid culture line. Um, their culture is what you want to say led by the puppet masters of media, and that's what Negroes choose to follow. And there's a lot of reasons why this occurs. One reason is because of the children have the natural disposition to spite their parents. Children don't want to listen to their parents. A lot of children were neglected by their parents. A lot of children look at their parents as if they don't know what's going on in their generation, so they completely ignore them. And then after that, they take their influences and from other friends that they know and movies and what comes out in the media, and they get led up that route. And that's what they want to emanate. That's what they want to mimic. And that's how they live their life. And that's what we've been seeing for the past 20 some odd years, and now we see the results of it. So um the whole Diddy beef and that thing, you know, I saw that shit years ago. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, East Coast, New York, and East Coast rap uh, has a very bad picture because you don't see none of that type of shit going on with the West Coast rappers who came from the same time period. You know, um, there's a lot of problems with the booty in New York, and they need to solve their issues with the butt. We saw that when the African Bambaataa came out, and he was over there raping our children in Africa and all types of crazy shit. So I mean, it's been going on for a long time. If you've been dealing with a lot of women, you know, women are attracted to men, and they will point out and despise behaviors um, that are zesty or are mimicking female behavior. And there's a lot of crazy shit on the East Coast rap. Uh, And when you go into early videos of East Coast rappers, they don't even have women dancing in the video. They got dudes dancing in the background and shit and all types of crazy shit. So I was never attuned to that. After Tupac came out with the East Coast West Coast beef, and that was a situation that you lived through too. I didn't know what anybody was doing on any level, and that was actually the first stage where I was like, okay, just stand back and watch these niggas. Don't be trying to support nan nigga. Don't be, getting influenced by none of these niggas. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And if you look at the psyche now, especially situations like the so-called Bayhive, for Beyonce fans, people act like they know, stars, you know, and you don't know these stars. You don't know what they're doing day to day. You don't know what they're eating. You don't know what their bank account looks like. You don't know. But one thing that I've learned throughout the course of this whole conscious thing and writing books and reading books and blah, 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 you know, my brothers and sisters have a real problem with saying what they don't know, as if there is such an important imposition to, I mean, there's such an important mode to impose that they know something to gain some view of superiority out of you. If you don't know, you don't know. And I love the phrase I don't know because it removes you from any form of responsibility. And then it also removes you from looking like the fool or being the fool. Because as soon as you say you do know something, or if you really peep how some of my niggas talk, they'll say you do know that. Da, 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 da. No, don't tell me what I know, nigga. I don't know shit. Because as soon as a person states that they know, and you do the back research on it, and you see that they don't know, you can make them look like a fool. And nobody wants to be made the fool. So put yourself in a position where you can't be made the fool. You dig what I'm saying? Um, there was a lot of nepotism when it comes to Drake. Drake's uncle was in Sly and Family Stone, and his dad was a jazz artist and whatnot. And he was raised as a Disney kid. He's basically like a Justin Timberlake in rap. Okay, if you really want to be thorough with it. Um, so he never represented himself as no super thug from the get go. You know, he sang to the pussy. He was an R&B artist. He had a lot of women hype over the past 10 years. He went around and slept with a bunch of artists that we so called know. Rihanna, the Venus Williams, J Lo. He was seen with all of them. But none of them had that giddy look. Like the nigga knew what he was doing. And none of them called that nigga daddy. You understand? So yeah, made him sign an NDA and all this other shit. So, but he did do that though. He did sing to the draws, and that's what's needed. Okay, niggas ain't singing to the panties no more. And women ain't singing to men, and the whole game is fucked off. You know, so we need to go back to the '80s. He did do that. He did preserve that. That was good. Kendrick Lamar. I have to stand with Kendrick because I'm on the West Coast and I'm not gonna violate that line. But Kendrick Lamar didn't make the type of classics that Drake did. 10 years ago, everybody was bumping Drake. You heard Drake at the stoplight, and that's what really uh deters me about the game is how quick people are traders. If you was bumping him 10 years ago, stand down. You see what I'm saying? Stay down with what you was doing. You're a traitor to yourself, by trying to switch up the game. And that's why I don't trust nobody. That's why, my trust levels are very low. I don't trust no new friends, nigga. I don't trust nobody. I got trust issues because of this type of shit right here. Everybody wanted to flip the script because of um what Kendrick said about light skin, and we don't want to hear you say nigga no more, and all of this. There's a lot of stuff back and forth. Nobody's resume is going to be, fucking fully clean, bleach clean. Let's not do that. Everybody out here got a little shit stain on their resume somewhere. So, whatever. I mean, I I've never I've only listened to one Drake album, and a couple of tracks. He gave more honor towards a lot of other MCs during the 90s that we grew up with. And he definitely tipped his hat to a lot of those individuals. You know, um, I've never heard a J. Cole album, never heard of J. Cole. I maybe heard maybe about one song of J. Cole's because you know, I'm 40, bro. I'm not finna listen to no 20-year-old ass nigga. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I'm not finna listen to no, you know what I'm saying? Like, I respect the game for what the game is supposed to be. My parents didn't listen to Dub C. My parents didn't listen to, Trick Daddy. My parents didn't listen to Twister. My parents didn't listen to Slim Thug. I did. My parents didn't listen to Scarface. You understand what I'm saying? I did. Do I listen to X Extension? No. Do I listen to a Kodak Black? No. Do I listen to a Bobby Shmurda? No. I stick with my generation. I have no problem with being my age. I have no problem with aging like I'm supposed to. So niggas got psychological issues with this keeping up the Joneses bullshit. And you think you're doing something special and you think sipping from the fountain of youth. You're not. You're still gonna get old. And now you look like a fool trying to be a little kid. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't want to go into no tirade about it, but there's deeper psychological issues that are being played with here that are definitely showing me the weak mentality of a culture and a large group of people. So yeah, that's my point on that. You know, what else can I
No,
say?
that's most definitely. You bring up a very, very good point. I am 43, and I agree with you completely. Um, Number one, it might be a little different if there was a little bit more innovation and authenticity going on. But shout out to Magic LaCroix. He had a clip in his live the other day. There was a young melanated mother with a young baby, young child, maybe 3, 4 year old girl, and she was able to perfectly mimic the current rap style. You know what I'm saying? One thing about all these kids, all this music I happen to hear that I do not listen to, but Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you're gonna come up. People use this music and whatnot. Um, everybody raps the fucking same. Everyone raps the this dumb ass idiotic mumble rap. Shit. It's very rare to come across somebody who actually cares about production, who actually cares about lyrics, or about actually being lyrical. Um, it's becoming more and more non-existent, and it's being forced underground. But it's interesting seeing how it reemerges. Um, it's a travesty what we have going on, and it's been interesting watching J. Cole, for example, because J. Cole actually put hands on Diddy, right, a couple years ago. But that's completely forgotten. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't go for blood with Kendrick like he was supposed to, according to rap hip hop. That's one of those laws I alluded to earlier. Like, um, us being from where we're from, but not residing there to this day, but still demanding respect. There's things you have to do, and there's ways you have to move to be able to maintain that, to be able to earn that in the first place. That is a tenet and a standard that seems to be falling by the wayside. Also, with the younger generation, it's like whole tenets are falling away. But then
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, were they ever there in the first place?
Mm-hmm. Well, the MCs from the 90s, which let me tell you something about Americanism or just human history. The art that was created in between 1960 and 1999 is the greatest art that has ever been made on this planet. You understand? And we're not just talking about music. We're talking about all of the greatness that happened in sports. We're talking about all the greatness that happened with technology development. We're talking about all the greatness that happened with collabs and cameos. Okay. We're talking about the fashions that were developed during those times. What are you talking about? And point an example right here. What is hip hop today without a CJ Mack interview, without a LL Cool J interview, without a Scarface at the Tiny Desk, without a Common Sense, without a Dead Prez? Where is it at? You're nothing. The new generation, you're nothing. You OD'd, okay? You wanted to prove you were the killer with the skinny jeans, and now you're serving 20 and 30 in the pen like a dumbass, okay? And you think you're supposed to be getting some type of respect. Who are you trying to gain respect from? The females? Nigga, you can get the most beautiful women without going to the pen. You get so what you're looking at is 5, 6 generations of single motherism that has enforced the black male mind to overtly try to prove their masculinity, and they don't even know what department to prove their masculinity in, whether it be intellect like the Terrence Howard, whether it be revolution like the Kanye West, whether it be the killer like the Young Thug. And they're all wearing dreads. You have the long hair, like women have long hair. You're doing all this fucking shit. You don't know what you're doing. And the reason being is because this is America, and America was built off of white male masculinity. Black males have yet to truly define it. We used to have folkloric positions that would explain it to us, like what was it, the John Henry, and on the railroad. And then you have other examples that are pretty good, like the Debo or the Mike Tyson, phenomenal, you know. But everything else has been sort of distorted in a way. You see what I'm saying? So they're confused, you know, trying to prove some type of level of masculinity that is not being knighted by a woman, because you know another male doesn't knight no masculinity. Females do. You dig what I'm saying? So you got your game ass backwards, and that's why everybody's running circles around you, and you know, divorce you and snatch 100 mil out your pocket because you don't know what you're doing, you know, and your whole system is defunct basically. So that's what we're looking at right now. Fusion. I mean, if you really want to talk about the whole Drake and Kendrick Lamar thing, I call this the first divorce court battle rap, is what I call it, because that's all you really heard was a bunch of complaints sounding like y'all was in divorce court. You know, you ain't raising your baby right, and you was over here fucking on this girl, and why you got a white woman, and why your woman half black, half white. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up. Why the fuck is you worried about where another nigga putting his dick at? Like, what the fuck is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of a lot of gangster rules that have been erased, and well, not erased. They're still in existence. They just ain't been passed down to the next generation. And we sort of saw that split with that whole, you know, it ain't tricking if you got it and all that other type of shit. There's a lot of things that has occurred inside hip hop that has adjusted what we were defining as black male masculinity through hip hop. Okay. So, you know, that's what, you know, is really going down, and it's pretty ugly, you know what I'm saying? So people are lost right now. um yeah, you know. But Shorty here, she asked about what the kicked out of heaven got me wondering about. I appreciate that question. Kicked out of heaven is medieval times, you know, 700 to 1700, everything that was going on in old Europe, from executioners, the criminals, 1,000 years of weather patterns, what was going on with witchcraft, what was going on with alcoholism. And that's also a very huge thing right now, is because, you know, the alcoholism through the clubbing has also distorted the way we're operating with each other, and the things that we're doing inside our culture. Is a lot of that is to be blamed on alcoholism. Everything that we've seen lately, from mental health and depression and taking the L, and all of those things are actually symptoms of alcoholism. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So the kicked out of heaven is an absolute must-own series. It goes through volume one goes through epigenetics. It goes through the manias,
The
infants.
manias is in volume two.
The manias are in volume two.
Right. The manias in volume two.
Volume one has the cuckold.
Yeah, there's one little section on the cuckold, right?
You know what I'm saying? The order of beggars, the government tax prostitution. You know what I'm saying? Volume two gets into the mystics side, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what is that? Is that 666 pages?
No, don't do it, brother. But yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Volume
Volume,
two is probably my favorite book that I've written. The power in volume two is astronomical. It was you know, Keanu here, when it was first released, this nigga would just be calling me. He was calling me. He was like, bro, this is a time machine. You know, this book puts you in the dimension. The information is very real. You will be in you will see the scenes. You will smell the air of what was going on in the medieval times. Um, volume two, if you read volume two, you have to read volume three, because it gets extremely dark. Okay. This is a darkness that you've never witnessed before. It gets so dark that you will know you have a soul because you will actually feel the soul in your body move to your arm or move to your leg, nigga, because the rest of your body is filled with darkness from the material, and you won't be able to clean up that darkness until you encounter volume 3, which is about medieval Catholicism, and we go over the Spanish Inquisition. But what's most important about volume 3 is that there's 120 different Black Madonnas defined in the book, and their pictures are there. There's over 1,000 pictures throughout the 3-volume series. And in the 3rd volume, I definitely understood that the self-esteem structure for Black females have been shot in America. Sexy Red is not an example of Black women, so I definitely had to rebirth a very ancient example of Black women, and that's through Queen Sheba. One of her original drawings is in the book. There's also many Ethiopian queens in there, and also, like I stated, over 120 different Black Madonnas that the church prays to. Okay, that's in the book. Okay, so and all the pictures, all the color, all the pictures are color. You know, I could show it to you right now. Let me see if I got one right here. But yeah, what did you think about the Black Madonna section, bro? Because you said your niece took the book and won't give it back.
Oh, indeed. Oh, she stole that one about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, most definitely. Shout out to her. Um, I grew up in Detroit, and one of the first schools I went to was the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Shout out to them. A couple of them still in existence, believe it or not. Um, so it's a mythology that, yeah, exactly, absolutely, absolutely, a must own. That volume,
And also the archangels are Black, and they're in here
indeed.
too.
Oh,
This one
indeed.
right here is called The Lady of Africa in Notre Dame, Afrique. Now, who do that? Now, is there any other religion that got Black women with crowns on them?
You understand? You see,
Okay.
and not to mention the original Statue of Liberty actually look very similar to that. You see,
Mm-hmm.
what up
Oh
though?
yeah, the Statue of Liberty, right, right, which was made of copper and is facing Africa. Let's talk about that
Right,
part.
right. You see what I'm saying? What up though, Miami Marlin? Thank you for joining us, man. What up though? Yeah, you see what I mean?
That's Archangel Michael that stands in Kiev, Ukraine.
Right, Kiev. Yeah, yeah. Which is
Mm-hmm.
been a focal point for the last couple of years, even though it's quiet as kept with these wars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that volume 3, is one of my favorites. That one led me to a lot of information because one thing I love about your information in your books is you're always ahead of the curve. That's why I can't wait to hear what you have next on your radar. But that one specifically, there's been this wave of Tartaria information.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, some people might correct that and say Moorish or Ottoman, but we know what we're right. Exactly, exactly.
That's the Queen of
We
Sheba standing next to the Statue of Liberty.
you see what I'm saying? The original,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the original drawing of Queen of Sheba.
right?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is a must-own series.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you see the links in the ticker going across the screen and in the description. Um, you need these in your households, your children. If you have, for those who have children, it will be a travesty to not own these books. This is a level of history you're never going to hear about. Um,
Right.
for those of us who have been in this for a while, just like these tenets we spoke about in hip hop, this isn't just occurring in hip hop. This is occurring everywhere, and it's largely because this dumbing down that we used to talk about. That
Mm-hmm.
shit is occurring exponentially. Um, the rate of literacy, the awareness. I love to get my information from anywhere and everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
um, and that includes TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
However, I understand the degeneracy that TikTok actually is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mentalities that it creates and the minute attention spans. It is repugnant. That is across the board.
Mm-hmm.
That's one reason why this younger generation, regardless of the wonderful stars and true, authentic gems who are doing some incredible work, far and few in between. This muck, you know what I'm saying? So, if for those who truly want to understand and maintain and own a bit of a true legacy of history and understanding of why we are where we are to a large degree, I cannot recommend these books enough. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that is kicked out of heaven.
Yeah, and let me show you something because you mentioned the Moors, and this is what the Moors didn't present because they ain't doing nothing but regurgitating information from their so-called scholars, right? But how come the Moors don't ever talk about this dude, Saint Benedict the Moor? This dude right here on this side, Saint Benedict the Moor. That's what his name is, you know, and he is a what we call an incorruptible saint. He is inside a glass coffin in Palermo, Italy, being prayed to for the miracles that he has conducted. Do you understand? And praying to him will heal diseases, ailments, and will also conduct miracles. Okay, is what is written down. So, when you run across something like that, and the Moors ain't said nothing about no Saint Benedict the Moor, who his patronage is the African Americans of America. Okay, like what are we talking about? Is it even making sense? You're not even making sense, brother. But you can't come the Catholic way. You're not knighted. You see, you got to go through hell to reach to heaven when it comes to the medieval times, and the realities of human existence, which a lot of black groups they want to impose that they're great behind the podium, but then they're hiding and when it comes to their everyday living structure. You see what I'm saying? So yeah. What did you think about Saint Benedict the Moor?
Well, it's funny because I went to St. Benedictine Seminary School in Detroit, where I'm from. Shout out to 6 Mile Southfield. Um, St. Benedict is, I think, Saint Germain gets a lot of the credit for some of the actions or some of the narratives that Saint Benedict actually maybe perhaps enacted, or at least is a little bit more associated with. But um, there's always been a narrative to not put Catholicism onto the so-called African American, especially when we look at papal bulls. Look at the Portuguese. We look at the West Indies. We look at how Catholicism moved, especially in terms of the witch. The only time it came into our communities was I can never pronounce that correctly, the witch's hammer. You know what I mean? That was more focused on us and our women than anyone else. But the religion was always in the form of another guise, whether it be the Knights of the Golden Circle or the KKK later on. And even that was borrowed. So um, it's always been kind of like he reminds me of Pascal Beverly Randolph.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather put that onto um, white Catholicism.
Mm-hmm. Well, America's Catholicism doesn't, and see, if you even look at the word, I say Catholicism. When people say Catholic, I say Catholic. And there's two different things, America doesn't really get the O because they don't have the omnipotence, they don't have they don't have the glory. You understand? And they don't have the force, and they don't have the control. You see, and America is designed out of witchcraft, and when it comes to you know Catholicism as a whole, there's over 5,000 to 10,000 different saints. And there's a lot of magic systems involving in those saints. But one thing that was never removed was what the black saints. The saints that are black are noted to be are painted as black, and the majority of saints come out of northern Africa. Okay, many of them. Saint Augustine of Hippo. Um, there's a long, long, long list of them. Like I said, there's 5,000 to 10,000 different saints. So they've always been there. It's just that, Negroes don't do thorough research and study on stuff. They just go with whatever, the grand master teacher says, at the feet of the grand master Baba and all this other shit. They just sit on their ass and listen. They take this stuff as entertainment. They don't take history as a seriousness. They don't take it with any form of seriousness. you know San Francisco is a saint. That's Francis of Assisi. you know all the cities in California are damn near named after saints. So whenever you see a SAN and then a city name, they're talking about a saint. Sacramento is the sacrament. So yeah, it's all there. But people don't look to find it. I seek information, and you have to ask the right questions. But in order to ask the right questions, you have to be through a certain amount of experiences in order to do so. It shouldn't have taken this long for us to dig up white history. There's been a long time period in the conscious movement where they try to say white people ain't got no history. Like, are you serious? They're right in front of you, bro, and you think that they don't got a history. How ignorant is that? That's some of the dumbest shit. But then again, when we go into the bowels of a lot of these so-called leaders and teachers, they're all in orders and they're being told what to do too. It's all, a masters of the sea puppet masters situation.
Well, when we look at, this whole idea, again, this idea of this supposed conscious community, it's really ridiculous. And where it stemmed from was an idea of something else that was an idea of something else. Back in the Pan African days, um, you had people who were actual researchers, and it wasn't just anybody. You couldn't just come around. But now with the internet, this idea of, if I want to be down, I can be down. This idea of uh, all this new nigga shit, woke and DEI and all this other ways to say it's just give me fucking sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
don't give me this sugar free cancer fucking high fructose corn syrup. Um, is I'll get lost. I don't want to. I don't want to go in on
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Shout out to Magic LaQuar talk about Saint Cyprian. Yes, indeed. Yes,
Yeah, I've
indeed.
ran across Saint Cyprian before.
You
Like I said,
see,
there's 5,000 to 10,000 different saints, bro. So, matter of fact, there's about 20 different saints that represent. There's about at least 10 to 20 different saints that represent every single day of the calendar.
right?
You
And
know.
you actually go into the saints. You go into you focus more on religion. Um, in volume three. Um, one of the things that led me to what I was mentioning earlier, I actually got away from um, the architecture, especially for those who are familiar with like Paris, right? The bone catacombs. Supposedly there's 6 million skulls and femurs underneath the streets of
Hmm.
Paris. The
Hmm.
ossuaries.
Well, that's
You
throughout the whole continent of Europe. But keep going.
Right, yeah, you go through that thoroughly. Can you talk about that just a little bit, please?
Well, those passageways through the catacombs is they call them streets. That's where we get the term streets from, you know. And the catacombs that you see in Europe are actually a mirror to the Egyptian catacombs. So everything in medieval Catholicism is basically a modernized, European version of ancient Egypt. Okay. And that's including there's a Saint Amun, for instance. That's just one of them. There's you could look it up, and it's spelled Amun. There's a Saint Amun. There's many different gods and many different mythology systems that are modernized and what you want to call rebirthed and through the saints. Okay. So when it comes to the catacombs, they don't know where a lot of those bodies came from, or a lot of the skulls and a lot of the bones that are in the catacombs, where they came from, or who even designed the whole system. Um, the numbers of bodies that were used to create the catacombs um, do represent the amount of people that were killed during the Black Death, the plague in 1347. But supposedly, there's reports of the catacombs being discovered in Rome during Roman times. So, but that would also sink in with the amount of people that were killed underneath the attempt to destroy Catholicism, Christianity during the Roman times. That's why you never hear anything about Roman emperors. The majority of Roman emperors spent their time creating saints by killing people who would not rescind Jesus, okay, or not rescind Christianity, okay. So I got some pictures of the catacombs in here. I'll pull them up real quick, so you know that is very real. These are the bejeweled saints that were found, okay, which, as I showed you, Saint Benedict the Moor was in a glass coffin that is also a mirror of the tombs that, and also this right here was the tombs of ancient Egypt and taking care of their dead. And here goes some more bejeweled saints. Okay. And then let me find some catacombs for you here.
Was he one of the incorruptibles also?
Who, Saint Benedict the Moor?
Yes.
Yeah, Saint Benedict the Moor is an incorruptible. These are, the catacombs right here. Death is life and life is death. And you can't win in war until you have fallen in love with death. But then also, to preserve the love that you have for a human that was once alive is to preserve them in death. You see?
Indeed, some of the most magnificent ossuaries and
Right.
you know what I mean?
So if you can't feel like, I remember one time I was giving somebody a book as a gift, the Voodoo edition, and Papa Legba is represented as the skull in the top hat. And he was like, "Man, I don't want no book with no skulls all on it." And I'm like, "You got a skull right now that's moving. Like, what are you talking about? Like, your head is a skull. Nigga, what the fuck is you scared of, nigga?" And I'm like, it's always, people find a lot of pussy reasons to not do some shit. Niggas always looking for some way to try to get out or some shit instead of investigating. You got to be interested. I'm not scared of no skull for what? You're a skull too, nigga. Shit. But yeah, to understand death, to love death is to preserve life, or preserve the love that you had in life, or for that individual, which is a very hardcore trend that goes through all of my books. Um, you know, to understand what love is, to understand what infatuation is. For instance, if a woman's husband was killed in a car accident, you know, would you classify, and he was decapitated in that car accident, and she came to the scene where this accident occurred, and this was the love of her life, and he broke her virginity, just to even go further, would you classify her as insane for keeping his skull, or would you understand that she was infatuated with the love that she experienced with that one individual and didn't want to share it with anybody else? And she'll be damned if anything of this individual is out of her sight and out of her context to be able to attain, keep, and preserve. Would you look at that as insanity? Yeah, and his head is sitting on her desk, and it's rotting, and there's maggots and there's flies all around it, and she kisses it every night before she goes to sleep. So, how do you look at that? Is that love and infatuation, or is that insanity?
It's going to be a little bit of both, depending on who's observing. You
You
know what I
know.
mean? Because see,
Uh-huh.
it's crazy to me. You got people who will perhaps they'll get someone cremated. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And there's all kinds of things you can do these days, from turning someone into a diamond, turning them into a tree, putting them on a
Oh
rock.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I find a lot of that crazy, but it's better than being buried to me. But that's just my mindset. Um, you're never gonna come to a universal accord. Especially when it comes to people. And that's why I laugh so much at this idea of a conscious community. Community period. Niggas can't agree on the cheese to go in the macaroni. You know what I'm saying? like straight up, you know
The
what I mean?
nigga
You know what I mean? The
can't
beach
agree on cheese. Do you understand me? Okay,
at
keep
all.
going. I'm listening. I'm listening.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out again, Magic LaQuad. You know what I'm saying? Niggas can't organize crime. You know what I mean? Like it's like what are we joking about? Like they are conscious. Come on, you know what I mean? Like you got people who are pariah who love to feed off of you, and a lot of people want to follow somebody. You know what I mean? Like we have to be honest. It's not just like it's this wonderful fucking thing to actually get shit done. It does not. As for as much shit as we can talk about any any church or masjid, they tend to feed people. You know what I mean? And the only people I see who still here from when I was a child um, is crackheads. I find that very interesting. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
it is what it is. So, what is there to look forward to? Do you have anything on your immediate radar? What are some of the projects you're working on? What is in your forefront, brother?
I'm at right now. I'm sort of like at a halt. I'll be honest. I really feel like a lot of the material that I put out has been underappreciated. I really feel like the majority of the audiences out here that float in between individuals like me and you are just looking at us as fun time entertainment. They don't take what we're saying as serious. They don't take history serious. They don't take their own development serious. Um, they don't take our psychological unification as serious. So I've sort of been, I'm in a back burner situation right now. I just released that album, Constantine the Black, at the top of the year, in January of this year. A lot of people have been asking me if I'm gonna put out a new album, and black people really don't get it, and I hate to term it like that, but this is how it works when it comes to artists, um, or when it comes to inventors as well. That they're serious about their work, and in order for them to continue to produce, there needs to be a security provided from those who are in love and infatuated with the work. This is what companies call stockbrokers, okay, and investors, angel investors, and they have been affected by this artist's work, and the effect that they felt, they want other people to feel. That's how McDonald's got everywhere. That's how Burger King got everywhere. Somebody ate the burger through the window with the milkshake and said, "This is genius. I've never experienced this before in my life. I want the world to feel and understand what I have felt and what I understand when it comes to this product. So we will make it available to the people." And black people don't really get that. We've never been through experiences that have traumatized our mind to enforce ourselves to be internal to on those standpoints. So it's a collective intelligence that we fail to have amongst each other, and it takes a lot for that support structure. Just like I was saying with a Kanye or a Terrence Howard, who are you yelling at? Because black people ain't gonna do shit. You were just something to swipe on. You were something to watch. You were something to dance the jig to. That's it. That's it. There's no seriousness. So because I don't have that seriousness line of support, then I have a house to maintain. I'm a single father. I have sons to maintain. I have multiple cars I have to maintain. I have to do all of these things on my own. So yes, I do have an Instagram. It's the God 720. Everything online is the God 720. THE space GOD space 720. And you can Google it, and all of everything will show up. I'm on Spotify. I'm on all streaming platforms. All my books are available. They're in Barnes and Nobles. They're in Kmart. They're on Amazon. They're in universities and all of that line. As Keanu has seen over time, Oxford and Cambridge University refers to my material. Jesuit schools, private military research schools, and business schools, so on and so forth. And but yet, when it comes to my core audience and what I've done online, um, there is silence, and there's silence because a lot of people want to just copy me, and then they listen to me, and then they want to go stick their chest out to the world, and act like they know something based off of what I've stated on the video, yet they don't have the essence. They don't have the work. They don't have the dirt underneath their fingernails. They ain't really did it. I've really done it. You can hear it in my vocal tone. You can hear it in my bars and my music. Ain't nothing fake over here. I don't need to put on a funny hat to appease you. I don't need to put on, ankh on my eyeball to make you feel like I'm from the ancient Egypt. It's clown shit. It's been a lot of clown fake shit going on, and we can't just blame the individuals at the podium. We have to blame the fake motherfuckers in the audience. You dig what I'm saying? And that's just what the line is. So unfortunately, my art is at a halt right now. I would love to be happy in those realms and to produce more, which I can. I have eons of shit I could produce. But nah, for what? You know, for what? It's not being taken serious. You know, I take things seriously. You know, you can't deliver a child by, reading Dr. Seuss books. This is not a joke, what I do, and a lot of people take it as a joke. A lot of people want me to make them laugh, instead of, because a lot of people don't want to be educated. Education is a very hardcore space, because when you educate, a lot of people feel like, oh, who this nigga is, he think he is superior, da 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 da, I know something too, nigga, blah 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 blah, and all of that. When you haven't done the due diligence, these books that you see behind me I read them, like this is real, so, but to to tap into the space of reality and the human psyche is a very hardcore mission. If you want to look at mythology and you want to look at religions and you want to look at all this other stuff, the human mind just may be designed for Walt Disney bullshit from the get-go.
And that's one thing that I've accepted as a reality. The human mind may not be designed for dealing with um, the hardcore literals, and that's why there's 1% controlling the 99%, and the 99% can only develop the illusion that they've signed contracts with the devil to rule this shit. No, that's not what happened. They took mathematics serious, they took science serious, and you sat on your ass and you drank the orange soda and you fucking watched the SpongeBob. And that's what you wanted to do. And that's what, the native people do. you know we didn't do that when we didn't have interruption. When we were left to our own demise, we were left to our own environment and our own collective intelligence. Yeah, we supported each other off of the earth, but even with that support off of the earth, we developed these systems with mass amounts of gods and all this and that. We didn't have the trial and error and hundreds of years of practice within the space of war like Europeans did. And that's why they were able to take over the planet. When you buy the Kicked Out of Heaven, there's a 5-page section listing all the wars. It took 5 pages to list all the wars that Europeans went through with each other in between 700 1700. And then not only that, there were plagues going on at the same time. They were still burning criminals and women at the stake during the same time, while all of these wars were going on at the same time. It was ferocious, and that's why they were able to take over the whole planet like they have today. And we still sitting back, talking about a Kendrick Lamar and a Drake. You dig what I'm saying? Because we're not taking things seriously. And when I say that, I'm not stating that in the standpoint of we need to be going to war with anybody, because we're not in the position for that. The only space of war is business and the development of products, and also the provision of services and conveniency. And when we understand that, which I have presented inside the Kicked Out of Heaven, you have to understand a lot of heavy sciences, specifically on how humans operate in their behavior when it comes to releasing a product or selling a product, as all the products that you have witnessed coming out of me, whether it be my books or my music, have been bought worldwide. So that means I've touched the unconscious zone of human thinking, which is relatable amongst all races. Okay. So until we take things seriously, or until fans take me seriously, I don't know what's going to be coming when it comes to the next project, whether that be music or books. We're in a recession right now in this nation. Money is getting very low, and we're not taking that seriously either. So I have to make some adjustments with my survival position and how I operate, because I can't be reliant on people who are seeking entertainment. Okay. You know.
I feel you 100% on that. Um, there's um I'm thankful for the people who follow me and listen to me and tune in. Shout out to Moonfeather, shout out to Magical Quad, shout out to Sherry, shout out to Skywalker Man, Supreme Soul, Woo Girl, everybody on Instagram, everybody on Facebook, everybody on YouTube, everybody in Telegram, everybody on the Patreon. Um, y'all know I don't open up my mouth just to open up my mouth, right? A lot of people um, just want me to talk just to talk, and
Mhm.
I greatly appreciate that energy. But that's not something I'm here to do. I'm not here for fame. I'm not here to fix something. I'm here to be the change I want to see. I started all of my platforms in order to be a light and be a space for people like Keenan Booker, people who take their will and determine it and act it out. And actually add on. Um, I absolutely adore authors because people don't have to share. We're in this age where everybody wants to share everything every second of every day, and nobody needs to see 99.9% of that shit, right? We need to learn when to be moved and when to move. So I want everybody to pay attention to who it is you follow, who it is you feed, who it is you give your attention and energy to. And, ask yourself, twice, are they really worth it? Are they actually adding to this supposed collective, right? I am a numerologist and I am a librarian, first and foremost, right? I'm also a counselor. I'm very proud of that. But my Patreon isn't here to get rich. For $3, you get access to an incredible digital library, right? You go $8 and you get access to a Patreon where you get teachers like Keenan Booker. You get teachers like Moonfeather. You get teachers like Magic LaQuai. You get teachers like Michael Bell. You get teachers like Tefero Azir. You get teachers like Brother Panda. You get teachers like Bobby Hemmett. You get teachers like Dr. Suzar Epps, right? For little to nothing. It's not here to milk you, right? And you don't even hear me talk about that, right? My readings are affordable, under $100, right? So that that's not what I'm here for. I like to think, maybe I'm dreaming, that means something, right? So Keenan has an incredible. Correct me if I'm wrong, Keenan. You have a sale going on where you're giving out volume 1 through 3 of Kicked Out of Heaven for $50. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was originally going at $100. You know that, because you was there. It was originally going for $100, but it's going for $50 now, and all the pictures are in color, and there's over 1,000 pictures to verified damn near every single section that is talked about, because there's a multitude of different sections that are described, everything from the dancing mania to there's a 200 300 page section on the plagues during the the death, the Black Death in 1347 that occurred, that took over about 25 million to 100 million lives throughout the whole course of Europe. And that's where the image of death was created because of their experiences. There's pictures for every single section inside the book. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because we see, who people have been putting their faith into. Remember all the hype behind the Brother Polite? Remember the hype behind all the Nature Boy? And look at where these niggas ended up. Interesting, but they couldn't develop a tangible product that could battle time. And I definitely wrote these books with the notion for my audience to feel comfortable with listening to me, because my scholarship is accredited, as it has been, and that's definitely one of the reasons why I put it out, so you're not listening to a fool when when you are when you listening to the guy 720, so that's just what it is. You can get it now. You can get it now at kickedoutofheaven.com, which is a website that I built, and I got to pay fees on every month, all that type of shit. And even the blackmansbible.com. Okay. And the Black Man's Bible is designed specifically as a cheat sheet for black males, so they don't have to go to jail, to get ahead of the game. Because me, myself, I wasn't presented with psychology, sociology, anthropology, banking, tax, and all of these other systems when I graduated out of high school. I didn't know any of those things. So I definitely have put it in an expose position, so they do know. Yeah. So that's where it's at. There's proof in the pudding here. You know what I'm saying? And you can have it for your own. And when you do have it for your own, make sure that you invite me over for expansion to your friends or whatever else. And that's definitely why I made a multitude of different subjects. I mean, I covered a multitude of different subjects throughout the 3-volume series, because each one of these subjects have about 100 books behind them. And you can fall into those rabbit holes and study those paradigms, and you'll find out a lot more information. This society is built off of a lot of stuff, okay, that occurred in old Europe. And I did attain a lot of them, a lot of those subjects, and describe them in the literature, you know.
Shout out to Sherry. I think she's giving you an address for a bookstore.
Right,
Uh, you know what I'm saying?
right.
So
But see how that happens is you have to make it happen, not me. In entertainment works by cheerleaders. Okay. Entertainment works by what you want to call an agent. Okay. An agent is the individual who works in between the artist and the store, or the artist and the location where a lecture is given. So it is you that has to enforce that picture and make it happen. Okay. You could purchase the book. You could once the book arrives at your home, you take the book to the store and say, you need this in the store. Contact this dude by this number here, or I'll contact him if you want it to happen. We have to take the full, if you're serious about it, if you are in love, and if you are infatuated. If you're not infatuated, then it sits on the shelf. That's how this game works. I was okay, for instance, millenniumdvds.com. Why are why do I have over 3,000 films of all the scholars available for you at $5 a piece? Because when I first encountered them on YouTube, I was infatuated and I wanted to own. Okay. And with me wanting to find out the source of where all this material came from, I was also going to put it in a position to provide. And that's how it works. So if you're not in love or infatuated, you cannot provide. And I do all of those things. That's why we have the missing father syndrome going on in the black culture, because that man didn't love his woman. He wasn't infatuated with his woman, and he wasn't infatuated with what him and the union of his woman produced. Therefore, he did not provide. Okay. So there's a system here. And until you get this system in your head and you take it fucking serious, it's not gonna work. There's nothing. So Miss Sherry here also stated that she makes clips of Keanu's show, and she looks at them. You can repost them on the internet, you know, uh repost it, and you have to be ferocious. And what happens here is we have to understand the caveman's mind. And a lot of people want you to shy away from the caveman, and you must understand the dynamics of survival and production from the caveman's position. And when you understand the caveman's position, you will be able to understand the black space of the unconscious mind of all races on this planet. So let me ask you, when the caveman tried to create a fire, do you think he struck fire the first time? Did you? No, he didn't. So then he had to figure out, I got to go get some leaves. He went and got some leaves. The leaves were wet. He tried again, failed. Okay. He said, oh, I got to go get some dry leaves. He got some dry leaves, couldn't start a spark because he's using the wrong type of stone. Failed. He said, I got the dry leaves, so let me try this type of stone. He got the other stone, flint. He struck the flint. There was a spark. Guess what? The wind blew the spark. The spark didn't catch on the dry leaves. He failed. He said, maybe if I try it in the cave, I can do it again. You see how many times you have to try over and over and over and over and over and over to get to the production? Do you see that? Do you know in this 3-volume series, I had to read over 150 books in order to produce it? You see, we try over and over and over and over and over again until it's produced. Okay. And until we get these concepts that are taught in universities and that we shy away from in our universities, and we think we're going to get on the streets and hustle, or we want to go flip the patty at the Wendy's. Okay. And we don't know what we're going to do with our lives. You know, they're understanding the concepts that build production, that allow production to provide for others, to be purchased. You see, same with, you know, the caveman looking at the lightning striking the plant. The lightning struck the dead tree, and now the tree is on fire. What makes you think that wasn't the first fallen angel when it comes to the human psyche? That could have been the first fallen angel, could it not? That was the first time the caveman witnessed fire. So when he witnessed this fire, can he keep it? What does the fire do? Do we touch it and we burn ourselves when we touch it? So what is fire going to do for me? It's warm. I feel a warmth. It's cold outside. You see? So there's a lot of psychological zones that you need to break yourself down into the caveman thought in order to comprehend the world that we're in right now and how to survive within it. So you have to do it over and over and over and over again. The black man's Bible wasn't enough. Real nigga etiquette wasn't enough. The ethereal law wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. The kicked out of heaven wasn't enough. I kept on producing over and over and over and over again. Those who give up, you know, are failures in life. You have failed. Okay. You need to accept that shit about yourself if that is the position. You failed. This is the ethereal law. $20 on the blackmansbible.com. You see? Been many times we fail and you have to do it over. It is garbage. Throw it away. You know? And you have to have the nerve to say that about yourself and what you produced. It's not good enough. You know? And that is the entrepreneur's curse. I ain't mean to go on a tangent, but go ahead, Keanu.
Nah, man, nah. That was some beautiful fire that needed to be stated. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you touched on melanin DVDs because I was about to. Um, you know, people not enough people know. You know, I don't know who may fuck with that Gaia bullshit or who may deal with, you know, some other streaming services, but um you know, the majority of what used to be on YouTube is no longer there. Um,
I've noticed that. Keep going.
you know what I'm saying? Why people expect it to, but seem to know so much about the powers that should not be, and you know how these platforms work. You know, this is where historians come in. This is where people who pay attention are vastly important. So, you know, for anyone who's looking for a lecture from anyone of note and renown, I cannot recommend melanindvds.com enough. You give, correct me if I'm wrong, 30 DVDs for $100?
Yeah, you're not gonna find that anywhere online. And I
You,
got
you understand?
Layla O Africa, Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine. I got everybody, you know. I got everybody on the website because I was infatuated. I was in love. And from what I experienced from the information that I used to view, I wanted others to have it at their availability. This is my race. So I look at it as the home team. While these other cats were selling them for $20 a DVD, and you had to wait for months to get them. You could come over here to me and get it at wholesale. You know, um, yeah, you can get them at wholesale, and I sell DVDs at wholesale prices. And I mean, I have everything. I have Cosmic Slop from P Funk and the Funkadelics. I got the whole Soul Train. You want to watch? You want to watch Marvin Gaye perform? I got the whole Soul Train on there. I got, you know, I got Earth, Wind, and Fire in concert. I got Temptations in concert. I got, you know, I got over 100 films on yoga practices alone. Um, you know, If you're serious, it's all about seriousness. I make people laugh, but my stuff is in the realm of comedy, not foolishness. And yeah, if you're serious, I like seriousness. Seriousness gets shit done. you know Aggressiveness gets shit done. All that weak ass shit people out here on, I don't fuck with. I wasn't designed off Wendy's. My mom wasn't eating no fucking Happy Meal when she was creating me. And my children weren't designed in the same format neither. We don't do weak shit. I don't know why everybody is signing up to weak ass shit and expect something great to come out of it. They just want something to laugh at. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I'm cool. Why produce anymore? I mean, how many people go to a football game and want to identify with somebody else versus going to a museum and appreciating divinity being expressed through art? The majority of people
Don't
go watch the football.
yeah,
Keep going
exactly.
though. I'm done, bro.
Nah. That's real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen. I am a numerologist, and I am a librarian, and I am a counselor. So the last thing I ever expected was big numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be more thankful for every number that I get. But this isn't for that. This isn't um, there's a level of uh, respect and authenticity that I can't break. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain things just aren't worth that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, and I want to stress this, Melanin DVDs, it's not just a conscious website. You have subject and categories numbering in the hundreds. Not and Aside from lecturers, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
Some
I got gangster films over there. I got all the gangster films. I got all the pimp films too. Black is black. I represent and take care of all areas of black. I don't give a fuck. And then also human race. So I got all the white scholars too. I got all the William Henrys, all the Jordan Maxwells, all the David Ickeys, all the Michael Sarians. I got all of that shit. It's available if you want it. If you serious, a lot of people is clowns. You go clicking all day. And here's the thing about it. It's okay to click on the YouTube because I'm there to be clicked on as well. But guess what? What you click on YouTube is not called ownership. So until you become possessive, which is another degree of the entrepreneur's curse, you will possess, you will love. Okay. That is what we do. You understand? That's what we did in our music in the 60s and the 70s. We possessed each other. We loved each other. Possession and love. If you're not willing to be possessed, and I'm going to tell you where a lot of people have a problem with possess and affection is because they weren't breastfed as a baby. They were denied by their mother's tit and given a plastic bottle with some powder in it. So now they grow up in a position of being um uh, uh, uh you know either seeking it, and they're too what we want to call clingy, which clingy is nothing but possession. And you have to understand that the CIA and all of these other groups, they put words in society that divide you from the essence of reality of human connection and growth. And the main reason is because we have a hierarchy system that's designed based on financial social systems, and they want to stay at the top. And they have the right to do that because eagles take care of eagles and hawks take care of hawks. You've never seen a hawk take care of an eagle. Okay. You've never seen an alligator take care of a python. Okay. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. You've never seen, okay, well, dogs are chaotic with their breeds, and we really can't talk about domesticated animals. We have to talk about animals in their wild standpoint. Even insects, you don't see red ants taking care of black ants. Black ants take care of black ants. Red ants take care of red ants. So they have the right to do everything that they're doing because it's found underneath the guise of natural law. I don't have to give a fuck about you because you're of another breed, basically, is what it boils down to. So until we start to understand that space, we're going to be lost in the sauce. You see? So, I brought this game for everybody. Go ahead.
Now you are exactly right on that. Exactly right on that note. You know what I'm saying? The illusion of inclusion goes crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful for you, brother. You know what I'm saying? People who really know me, they know I don't stand next to just anybody. So I'm proud for these. Good God, 10 years at least. It's been that you have been not only who you claim to be, who you say to be, who you act to be, but you have evolved beautifully and strongly, and you have maintained your integrity. I look forward to any and all things that you do. This will not be the last time you are here. I thank you for joining us. If you would like to give out your websites and works one more time before we get out of here.
Yeah. But let me ask you, are we, you said you wanted to detail, so are we going to detail all 3 volumes? You want to beat up the people or what you want to do?
Oh, we can run it however you want to run it.
Well, I mean, I'm about to send you the 3-volume series and you're going to have to, pose the questions to me and we can go through it on, your show here.
Then that'll be exactly what we're gonna do. Because what I really want to do is I want to go through every book. You know what I'm saying? Every book and every album. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be fair. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be something that would have to be properly displayed. So I'm all for that.
Okay, well then how about this? Nobody's ever touched a black man's Bible because that is wild. Do you understand? The black man's Bible got a lot of gangster shit up in there, a lot of wild shit that is true. So if you want to, pin me up against the wall, put me in the gauntlet with the black man's Bible, that's cool, man. Whatever you want to do on it, we can come back here and let it run. And let me say this before I give out my websites. I don't want anybody to take anything that I've said in any offensive spot. I don't know you, never seen you before in my life. We've never talked. So don't, I'm giving generalized standard stuff that needs to be approached and dealt with. And because I'm a father and I take responsibility seriously, and I also take providing solutions to problems seriously. This is not a joke. I'm not here to be a clown or wear any type of wig for you. I'm not here to be worshipped in any format. Shorty said, I don't want no new friends either. Well, you listen very well. Well, when it comes to females, that's different. Let me clear the hatch. You understand? You got some dime pieces over here, nigga. So let me go ahead. Hold on. Let me put on some Isaac Hayes in the background and some Isley Brothers for the ladies. Yes, nigga. Okay, light the candle in this motherfucker. But yeah.
Listen,
Yeah, no, when it comes to women, it's a difference, of course. I do the friends, you understand? But when it comes to niggas, we got to be about some business. And usually, if I'm gonna be attached to a woman, like we're attached, we gonna be bubbling up some big dough. You dig what I'm saying? Unfortunately, we're in a dimension where money rules, and a lot of people don't want to approach the reality of that situation. And I have no problem approaching the reality of that situation. But to do it by yourself is hard. It's a difficult situation. Real money, when we're looking at corporations and whatnot, survive off of a board room, and they survive off of stockholders, and that's what we're trying to do here. Stargate Publishing, which is the publishing company for all my books, is LLC'd up. And also Saga City Records, that has all my albums up underneath it as well. And it is open door for other individuals who are educated and who are dedicated in the arts to be a part of those companies. So don't think that I'm just out here gonna let little Daryl produce no mixtape underneath no Saga City Records, nigga. We don't do that. Okay, we don't do that. You understand? And don't think that I'm gonna let some nigga with some fucking with some ankh on his eye or the snake on his Egyptian helmet come or this nigga with the Moorish tassel gonna come up here and just produce any old shit on the Stargate publishing. It don't work like that, my nigga. You understand? So let's be very clear. You understand? So ladies, the email is thegod720 at gmail. You want to holler at me, we can see where the magic goes. If it is in destiny for it to occur on whatever level, I'm not, promoting no dating app or no crazy shit like that. But I'm just saying, whatever happens, happens. The website's Millennium DVDs. You can get 3,400. Kicked Out of Heaven .com. You can buy the books right now, all 3 volumes for $50, and it does come with a certificate of authenticity. And then also the blackmansbible.com is where you can purchase all the other books: the Black Man's Bible, the Ethereal Law, 7 the book, and Real Nigga Etiquette. Like I stated, I don't have Real Nigga Etiquette, the Voodoo edition, but I do have all ebook versions on those sites. Okay, I have ebooks available at half price of what the paperback is on all those sites. They go right to your email. And also the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women, which is a book we didn't even talk about. But on Amazon, each volume is at $200 a piece. Okay, so you'll be spending a total of $400 on Amazon. You can get it. You can only buy the ebook because I no longer have any more paperbacks of these. You can buy the ebook on thewomansalchemy.com. Okay. And yes, and I have everything up in there. I have the definition. I mean, I have the definitions to a lot of different cosmetic products and what the chemicals are inside of them. Gestation period, fetal alcohol syndrome is in there. A multitude of different goddesses. The definitions of women's names are inside the book. So, and also what he mentioned earlier, the Malleus Maleficarum, which is the hammer on witches that was written in the 1500s. Okay, all of that is explained inside of here. Okay, so I'm about to put the links up here, and I ain't mean to go on another tangent, but go ahead and say what you got. Close out if you want to, Keanu.
No, you good, man. You good. No, I can't wait. We're gonna go through every book. It would be unfair not to. It is much needed. I very, very much look forward to that. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to your return. I want to say love, peace, and power to everyone who is listening, everybody who's watching, joining in, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Um, I thank you also for what you said about the beautiful women.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, when this season jumped off, the first episode was about the spook who sat by the door, and there's a part in the book in the movie where he's talking to a prostitute,
Mm-hmm.
and he's telling her, you know, you look just like this woman in mythology in this book, this queen of Dahomey. And as someone who constantly studies, especially your books, um, right now, you know, and I'm not talking to the women with the overage in terms of trying to be more than what you are. I'm talking to the women, Moonfeather, Machete, Woo Girl, far, far, far too many to name. I love all y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Who are authentically themselves, are
Mm-hmm.
natural, and stand up for something.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot thank y'all enough. I want to say special shout out to Khadijah, uh, Panic's wife. I want to say rise and power to Brother Panic. His YouTube channel was taken down a couple weeks ago. I have been. He's one of my absolute favorite teachers, and I have essentially everything he ever put out. So let me make a point also. If there's something on YouTube, if there's something on Rumble, if there's something on Instagram, if there's something on Facebook, whatever, download it. If you need a lesson, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? And I'll show you real quick. I've been doing this for a long time, and do not expect these platforms to hold this information. Like, oh, it'll be on YouTube. No, fuck no, it won't. Especially if it's worth anything. Especially if it's going to hold somebody liable. You got a lot of these fake fucks out here, right? A lot of these very, very well-known people who used to say some real fly shit that they stole from other people, right? And miraculously overnight their platforms are gone. You know, it's a lot of people who could have some streaming services, who could have some of these types of websites and information sharing, and they no longer do. Now, maybe they just do a certain kind of thing. But watch these motherfuckers, yo. Oh, you understand? I hope y'all really understand what y'all just witnessed in the guy 720. You know, somebody who walks it like they talk it. You know, you say whatever the fuck you want to say about Terrence Howard. Show me a book. Them patents is cool. Where the book's at? Where I can read it for my
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Where I can read it for my goddamn self. Because that's some bullshit otherwise. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go off on a complete tangent.
Right.
So
Hey,
I want to say, go ahead.
Have you heard that song "Strong Perfume and Cologne"?
That's on hold on, that's on the what's the
Symphony of
name of the
Millions.
album, man? I want to say yes,
That's on the
that's
Symphony of Millions.
yeah.
Yeah, if you want to pull that up and play it for the shorties, nigga, go ahead, nigga.
Let me see
on
here.
the close out.
Go ahead and run that real quick while I bring that up.
Okay, hold on. I don't know if I could bring it. It should yeah, why he bringing it up? This is a track off the Symphony of Millions and the Harmony of Fun album, which was 2-3 albums ago. This song is called Strong Perfume and Cologne. Okay. And this goes to the shorties. I do a lot of music with women on the hook, and I do the harmony. Do you understand me? Like the name of the album is The Symphony of Millions and the Harmony of Fun. Okay. So yeah, he about to pull it up, and we're gonna close out with that. See if y'all jam to that one. You understand? That's one of my favorite tracks. You know, but I have many of them. I even got women rapping on a couple of songs. No, just one song, but you know, usually I just have the girls on the hook. You know.
All right, folks. I think I got this working correctly. I want to say love, peace, and power to everybody tuning in, man. Thank you for coming. We will be back very, very soon. And stay safe, man. You know what I'm saying? Guard your body, guard your mind, guard your spirit, guard what you take in. But make sure you're giving out something.
Oh, he done pulled it up. Look at that.
Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne.
She was exotic, toxic, with over a meal in her closet, mighty nostalgic. Amazon and them 6-inch heels and made her the tallest, but her voice is the softest. Can't hide her cleavage. She walks around in my office. Black cards in my wallet, my cards are what you would call it. Let me define you symbolic. A soprano with Ferragamo, the Virgin Mary, and her Luciano. After the bottle, make that pussy swell up like tomato.
Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Ayy.
Never am I confused, she wants some healthy abuse. Smelling like liquor and fruit, we smoke one and then two. Just to lighten the mood, watch her whiten her eyes, get as bright as the moon. Sitting in this drop top, listening to ghetto tunes, and we gon' get home soon. I know she tightly sealed like an Egyptian tomb, but she don't know I can speak in cryptic too. Then we make some crypto moves, we could never lose. So tell me what you gonna choose.
Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne.
Looking for hearts to break, cause we part snake. Ignorant is to ignore the chance, so please partake. Magically your bank account will look like shrimp and steak. Big money on that custom shit and this won't break. Sipping on that champagne, cause in this campaign we've been through blood and pain, and I can't trust a thing, not even you, even though you my boo. I need more than just two, so when I come through, just have me some food. My attitude be street, I chew with baguettes on my teeth. She just like the money, that's part salty and sweet. So I don't be saying shit, cause all that talk is cheap. My money go in your rabbit hole, cause my thoughts too deep.
Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Strong perfume and cologne and let him watch the throne. Ayy.